I'm not allowed to.
I think
I tried to pay for the premium subscription, but I was like, no, let me find out how this thing works first before man go try splash your money by the premium subscription. Like, it has a lot more perks and add-ons, but sometimes you have to test things out first. Kind of like in this scenario here with Sarah Garvey and Auntie Jenny and flipping King Richards and that. Auntie Jenny seems fine. King Richard seems fine. They ain't up in no arms. You understand? They don't seem like stupid people. You understand? And as I said, when you when you look at the 70-30 percentage, right? Some of us are working for way less than that. But then at the other hand, you got to look at how much are they getting from that 30% Sarah Garvey if you did accept that 30%. And then Auntie Jenny and what's his name, King Richard, how much are they getting? Like what, 15, 16%?
Well, we don't know.
10 to 15 apparently.
Uh,
And if that's the percentage they're getting, like who's to tell us like that 15 or 16% ain't top dollar, like, you understand where I'm coming from?
Depends how much revenue's coming in, innit?
You get me? Because this is YouTube revenue, and like we know YouTube revenue, especially when you pass a certain threshold of subscription and you're getting that viewership and that comments up. Like as you're getting YouTube ads, and plus people are you got your Patreon, you got your subscribers actually cash up in you, and live streaming money to you and that. You understand? So her money is she weren't getting no small money. YouTube, like, once you're doing well on YouTube, the money's not small. You understand? And especially when you got people just like paying you money outside of YouTube. So this is what I'm saying. That that all 16 or 15% or whatever they're getting, it could be like top pounds they're getting. I'm just saying, like, so maybe they're just, you know what? I'm good with this, innit? You understand? I don't need to be greedy, whatever the case is. I got a channel off of like my channel's boosted off of the back of it. Auntie Jenny's got a channel off of the back of it, like hitting 40,000 subscribers. She's making her own kind of YouTube money. I don't know how it really works between the Pearl Nation over there. I'm just saying, like, you understand. So we can look at oh my god, the percentage, but it seems like those two that we're specifically talking about are kind of benefiting. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Do you know what? I think like when you look at certain music artists where they're in a contract, and it's only when they've come out of the contract years later, then that's when they open up to kind of speak about certain mispractices or the fact that they weren't able to release any tracks because of the fact that
Mm,
the contract or the label that they were signed to was airtight. I think that was a recent situation with Megan Thee Stallion a few years ago, and she had to come out of a 360 deal where it seemed like a lot of people got a hand in the pot before she was able to see anything creatively. So my thing and I'm saying that I'm just drawing that as just an example, just to what you said earlier, Silent, when you mentioned about King Richards and Auntie Jenny. Then I think also everybody's circumstances are different. Auntie Jenny is retired, so for her, from her perspective and her journey on here, it's going to be mutually beneficial speaking to her own circumstances. The same thing with probably a King Richards. King Richards has been in the has been in the YouTube streets for years doing this, so he's not new to this. He's not just somebody new. So again, if he's been trying to build his platform, and maybe he's seen a major growth through the being affiliated with Just Pearly Things, so he's not going to have so much to argue about. Whereas I think with Sarah, he's more looking at it from a freelance, a business, and he's saying, hold on, I know my worth a little bit more, and I'm actually going to tax that. Do you get what I mean? Whereas the others
mm,
saw it as in, okay, it's going to be what's beneficial for me. So it's all depending on each and every individual's tolerance and their levels and how they value themselves and what they see they're going to benefit from. Because the young man versus a retired woman, they're in two completely different walks.
Yeah, I just don't think ethically it is right, and I think it is, it is similar to a large corporation knowing that they have the ability to advertise, knowing they have this platform, and because of that, saying, okay, we're only going to give you this small percentage. I don't think, and especially with the amount of time or effort, I don't see why someone should make way more money than you when they're doing all the work. And from that perspective, it is the kind of colonization, or even if we don't want to use that word, it's exploiting, or whether the people agree to it or not, based on the fact that they feel, okay, I'm getting this and you're getting that. It's just the fact of, how can I be working and I only get 15% of my work? Because surely they're not getting 15% of the whole channel. They're getting 15% of what they do on their channel. So I don't know. And as someone who's in business, that's not something that I would do. I wouldn't tell someone, oh, you let me get this product off you and you're gonna get 15%, but I'm gonna take 75, or that's like, that doesn't make sense ethically. I don't think that that makes sense personally, but if that's what she wants to do, that's good for her. I think, like you said, a lot of people that sign contracts, they don't read the small print, or say, for instance, they start blowing up, they're only ever going to get 15% of their money. They can't do, certain sponsorships. They might only get 15% of, I don't know how it works, but I just don't think that's a very good deal, especially with the racial wealth gap and black people already being the minority. If anything, you should give them a better deal because of that.
But then true, but then one would also say one of the kind of the tricks or the trade in businesses, especially if you're freelance or if you're a creative, is you should know your own worth. And so when it's now having a conversation of, contracts and deals being put on the table, coming in with the mindset of knowing in your worth and not settling past what you're being offered, you have that choice, And again, like I mentioned, I think probably for the other creators, their circumstances are different and they're coming from different journeys and different strokes. So that contract may have been, beneficial for them. But I'm just saying, from someone like what it appears to be from Asara Garvey, he's saying, no, I'm a freelance contractor and, I know my worth. And so therefore what she presented to me is not beneficial. That's what I think I kind of got from what I heard.
Yeah, I think it's also the case of the mindset. Some people feel that they need people to get to the next stage. Some people don't have that self-belief, that know. Like hardly nothing, and there has been situations where an investor wants to take like 50% of my business or do this and do that, and I personally, I rather struggle and not have, that person have 50% or have that kind of stake in my business, because then, especially for instance, in the case where someone has over 49%, they get to make the decisions. If
Of
you
course.
are the person with the 15%, you have no control anymore. You literally are bound to listen and follow to whatever those people say within that contract for
Yeah.
that period of time. Like, you've literally given away all your control and put your trust in these people. And especially with a situation like this, where she is getting a lot of backlash, that is also going to be that's also going to have an impact on everyone that's with her, because you're a part of her team, basically.
It is, but the weird thing is we're in a time now, especially with social media, controversy sells.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
so
That's true. So
I've seen people's numbers go up and down from this kind of stuff. So, yeah,
yeah, I mean, if they're happy, that's cool. But I think from an ethical standpoint, she should actually give people the ability to still have ownership of their channel, and be on, I don't know, on her platform to some extent.
Listen, I hear you, but you know what's hard? When you build up your own business, you, your idea, your money, your time, your resources, when you put in the work, and then people did just a little bit and think they deserve how much? Right? Get a few more people. Doesn't really matter to me. You understand the audacity of people that think they deserve. I'm the one that put in my hard work, real blood, sweat, and tears. These people only added a little trickle, a little sprinkle, a little
I guess
sprinkle
it
on the whole
depends how
cake.
you look at it. So from Pearl's and from what
Yeah,
I've
who are you
heard,
talking about, Silent? Are you talking about Pearl or
I'm
the
saying, pal, she built up her thing. You understand? Hit me, and I get it. Like we're living in a day and age where, listen, we will all love to live in a utopic world where, you know what I mean, you actually get paid for the value of work you actually put in. But that's not the case. That's not the world we live in. You
mm,
understand? We're living in reality where it's like some people get paid below their value. Some people don't know their value. You understand? And guess what? Some people actually help other people to build even more value. You get me? But I'm just saying, I'm not saying Sarah Garvey should be like, oh, let me grab that 30%. I'm not saying that at all. You understand? I'm just saying, either which way you look at it, she built up her thing from the ground up. Whatever she had to do, I don't know. You understand? So obviously, if you're looking to work for me or you want me like to employ you, obviously I'm gonna protect myself. Yeah, and I'm gonna put a contract in place. And if you're not happy with the contract, you can leave. It's like it's just as simple as that. If you're not happy with what you see, fine print, big print, you can. But if you're happy with what you see, you sign it, and we go forward. No real biggie to it. Like, yeah, yeah. Are you back, Ty? Yeah, yeah. Blown up.
no, it's 15% off. So
what
I
did he
think
say?
I think the presumption is
Not,
it's off their own channel.
yeah, it's off their channel, not her
Because,
channel.
for example, what I heard was from the ad revenue, for example, Pearl would get 70% off of King Rich's channel. So the
Yeah.
whole point of why she would get 70%. So what I saw, what she justified a little bit later. This is why I like to observe these things and see what's going on, just to get a little bit of a wider context. So
Mm-mm.
what Pearl is saying from her perspective is she's obviously got a studio which she's built up. She's got a rent that she pays. I think she started listing like she pays like 5K a month for the rent. That's just the rent alone. Then she's obviously gotten a substantial amount worth of equipment, mic equipment, screens, computers, cameras, all these things, right? So what like you mentioned, what she would stand to benefit, or what the content creators would stand to benefit um from that kind of deal, is obviously they get the exposure under the Just Pearly Things network, but also they get the benefit of using her studio. So therefore she's taking a larger percentage, because in her mind she's already having to incur a lot of the cost anyway, because she's saying it takes somewhere between about 8K or so to run her Just Pearly Things channels alone. Then obviously, do you understand what I mean? So
They always
this,
want
so the
money.
percentage deal is off their own channels, off their ad
It is.
revenue. Bearing in mind, yeah, yeah. Oh no, I don't think he even elaborated on that. That's just what I kind of got from when the conversations were had outside of this.
No, he
So I
did
was like,
say
okay,
that. I think he did say, because he was saying she wanted him to do something daily, and from that thing that he would do, they would get 70 and he would get 30% of it.
So I think what she proposed to him was that she had an idea of doing a new show, which he would kind of pretty much be the front and the
Yeah.
talent for. And therefore she laid out what you've described, 4 days a week, 10 till 5. And he said, okay, well that's a full-time, that's a full-time job essentially. So what are we talking about with pay? And then that's when she presented the contract idea to him, which is we don't deal with pay. What we do here is a 70-30 thing. And I think in reference to that, what she was talking about, that's more so to do with his channel.
Yeah, exactly.
And the benefit, and then he's saying, and then obviously what she also said outside of this, what she said he failed to highlight in the video was he didn't highlight the perks that it comes with. So in her mind, yes, although, I might be getting, potentially up to 80-85%, there's also the perks that you get along with the subscription, just the name of the network, and using the equipment that we've got here. And you've also got our editors on hand, because remember, she's got a team who churn out fast amount of content. So you as a content creator, that's a dream.
Don't quote me on this, right? But are you sure? Because as I said, King Rituals had his channel before PEARLY even come over here. He had decent subscriptions, so he was already making his little whatever.
So
right?
Okay, so I think like King Riches, for
what
example.
I'm saying is this: are we sure it's not like because like she's maybe paying King Richards for his time for being on her show? Because when I see because I swear it's that when King Richards is going live, like in her studio, I swear it comes under the Just PEARLY Things banner.
It comes, so it's on his channel. So there may be clips in which like Just PEARLY may feature on a King Rich's stream, and the reason it looks all the same is because it's in the same studio. It's her
Yeah, I
studio.
know that.
However, the content itself is being produced on his channel. So the ad revenue that he's going to get from that, this is how I've understood it. Again, I could be wrong because I don't know these people, but I think how I've understood it is the ad revenue from his channel, 70% of that is going to go to her, or go to her network or her business.
Yeah, I think we need to dive into that a little bit more, because I need to really understand that, because that seems weird and it doesn't kind of make sense, like why anybody would kind of do that.
Yeah, but that's how contracts work in like the music industry, in every other industry. So that's the only way.
Remember, clout is
like,
money.
yeah,
Clout
they
is
wouldn't.
money. So
Warner
even
Brothers
in
wouldn't
the
say we're gonna give you 70% of our total revenue because you're working with us. They're gonna say no, we're gonna take 70% of what you got, and or whatever. They're not gonna say, they wouldn't give a percentage of what she's making. That wouldn't make sense. They're only gonna take a percent, and then those people get the platform and the advertisement and the exposure. But that's what I'm saying. It's very disproportionate. It's very little amount of money, in my opinion.
And then
Especially when some of them are getting like 15K views or 400 views, or you know what I mean?
And then I think also you got to remember as well, because you're using an external platform, i.e. YouTube. YouTube also take their cut as well in that ad revenue. So this is why he kind of compared it to like a Tony Braxton or TLC, where they sold millions, however they were broke because of the type of contract that they've got. So what he's detailing here is an example of a contract from a content creator on YouTube.
Yeah, and it was usually white people giving out those contracts in the music industry.
Listen, I'm just saying, like Auntie Jenny don't eat the money. That woman's bought her own house and shit. So as I'm saying, we need to get these contract situations correct, man, because it seems weird. it just seems weird, man.
What's weird about it?
Let me play the rest of this, because we only got like 4 minutes left.
Actually, what Pearl is trying to do is come back in with the same contracts and do the exact same thing to the Manosphere and do the exact same thing to the Red Pill community. Why? Because Kevin Samuels left a gap. And Kevin Samuels' fan base was predominantly black men. And Pearl has come in there and attempted to be top of the food chain. I will not be a part of this game, and I will not be a part of this colony. I have always been an independent. If people in the UK who can actually say and watch all of my content can say that I've been around before Pearl even arrived in the UK, what would I look like signing my life away, essentially, 70% of all I own, to this woman who just arrived in the UK the other day? She said to me that she's actually looking to sign more talent this year. Good for her. Good for the talent. But I hope they watch this video, and I hope they realize exactly what they will be signing. And I actually hope that this video makes her think about the ways, because essentially I had been with her from the beginning and I had helped grow her channel. And if she could suggest this to me, somebody who helped her grow her channel, then you are nothing to her. I have only given you around 30% of what I know. We haven't even touched on the very odd and weird parties that Pearl likes to invite people to. And I was invited to one last year, and she told me that her manager was coming from America and they were going to have a party. And very interestingly, they said that it was going to be board games. And I said, okay, cool. I don't mind playing Monopoly. I don't mind playing Snakes and Ladders. When I got there and I asked her about the board game, she said, no, a board game. There was a whiteboard in the living room. And what she proposed was that we all have a time on the whiteboard and we do what she says, and we talk about certain things which were quite sexual, and we put them on the whiteboard. But you know what I saw? I always saw her manager Kobe in the corner filming everything. And we've all spoken amongst ourselves, and we've spoken about Hollywood and the things that go down. And within that party, what I saw was if people were on that board doing very sexual things and doing things while they were drunk, that stuff was being recorded. But we'll speak about it another time.
Here, I want to ask the men in here. I want to ask the men in here. Okay. Women, raise your hand if you think women like violence.
Yo, people. Hey.
My screen's gone blank.
Yo. Who? Whose screen gone blank?
That was a wild question. That was a very wild question.
Okay.
It's, okay. Yo.
Thoughts now that obviously you've kind of heard a bit of that. What are your guys' thoughts?
Boy.
Ty, I know you can't wait to give your opinion. Go on.
No, I'm just laughing at the last part of that where he was talking about, I don't know whether what he's saying that they were videoing secretly while they're engaging in this game on the whiteboard, or is it blah blah? They're all adults. They're talking about sex and so forth. They're not exactly engaging in sexual activities, are they? It just seems like they're playing a game where you write certain things, you talk about certain things. I don't know. I'm kind of skeptical because his whole story was to paint her in a certain light. So I'm very skeptical at the moment. With I don't understand why he's kind of saying that when Kevin Samuels died, there was a space to fill, and she kind of filled that space. because there's a lot of black men on Kevin Samuel's show. He's insinuating that his fans came onto just Pearly's. I don't see the correlation. Why would they jump from Kevin Samuels, a black man, to this white American woman when you've got multiple platforms within the red pill sphere talking about the same thing? I don't understand how he's trying to join the two.
I think what he pointed out was he's saying that obviously, because he's how I kind of understood that was from a business point. So he's saying Kevin Samuels was an extremely, content creator, and through his passing, it's kind of left this void here. So there's an audience in which those audience would have disseminated through the type of content that Kevin Samuels did. Some of those would have disseminated to the Just Pearly things, as well as other content creators. So it wasn't, I don't think he said, oh yeah, all of them, all went from Kevin Samuels straight to her. He's saying that there's obviously a gap with someone like Kevin Samuels' content being missing from a business standpoint and from a viewership standpoint. And so now those viewerships would have disseminated in other places, and it's likely to be contents that are going to be similar. So your Fresh and Fits in other places.
I think also the fact that she's a woman, like men want women to agree with this stuff, and a lot of women don't agree with this stuff. So when you have a woman actually saying, oh yeah, if your body counts this, and to be honest, for me, it was giving Kevin Samuels, like the way that she was talking, everything, before I even knew she looked up to Kevin Samuels, she sounded like one of these men. So this is why she went viral, because you've got a white woman who's saying the same thing that a black man would say, and it's like, oh wow, look. And that's why my ex was sending me that shit, because he's like, look, even a woman saying it.
Yeah, but guess what? Shahrazad Ali been saying this for how many years now? So when we're bringing up people like Kevin Samuels and all that, Kevin Samuels a student. You understand?
No, but you've got also look at the scheme of life, though. When you say Shahrazad Ali, she was available at a certain time for a certain period. The people online are not listening to Shahrazad Ali. Like, if we're going to be honest, presently now, we can reference to her when we're making points, when we're talking about who, the first woman who may have been talking about this during in the 80s and the 90s. But respectfully, the young child of today is not listening to Shahrazad Ali, nor has he or she picked up her book.
Yeah, and it's about how the person carries themselves as well. Kevin Samuels was kind of making women look dumb, and he was very blunt, and he was very out there, and that's what people buy into. They buy into that toxic masculinity or toxic whatever. So in that sense, I feel like a lot of people were drawn to him because of how he was talking to these women, and he was making them.
Kiki, come on, those. Were you hearing some of what those ladies were saying?
No, I'm not saying that. No,
they were making themselves.
Some of them were dopey, but it's not as if he was bringing on women who articulate themselves, who are entrepreneurs, who are extremely good looking, who are.
It was a calling center. It was a calling. He weren't picking them.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that most of the videos I saw were women in like their mid-30s. They had children. They're not looking all that, and he'll be like, "So what do you expect?" Like, are you?
True, but then also he's had celebrities. He's had, the Love and Hip Hop girl. He's had Nicki Minaj.
Yeah, but they don't really get that much views in comparison to these other ones. If
anything, comparably, they probably do get a lot of views because of the fact that these are established women already. So these women come with their own following. So Nicki Minaj already comes with her own fan base. So a Nicki Minaj and a Kevin Samuels video or collab is going to bring in, do you understand, audience from both sides.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's very extreme. Like, you've taken this middle-aged woman that has a kid, who has an average job, who's average looking, and then you've got Nicki Minaj. Like, there wasn't a balance of.
But then I guess at the same, and this is, I think, because I can say this with so much room because I listen to a lot of his content, and I think as someone who's seen a lot of his content, like Ty said, these people are calling in. So he's not sifting and picking these people. These women are calling in. Now, in terms of the demographic, yes, was it largely a lot of women in their 30s, 40s, and women that did have children? Yes, because a lot of the context of the conversations that he was having, this is, let's keep it real, these are big people conversations. So when younger people used to call in, especially when he does these Instagram live in, the Instagram drew in a lot more younger audience. So a lot more younger people would call in. But when he's talking about complex adult situations, what does a